As part of my commitment to restore the warrior ethos within the War Department, it's imperative to stay mission-focused across the full spectrum of expenditures. This includes maximizing our return on investment when officers and senior enlisted service members attend expensive civilian universities. Graduates should emerge much more capable warfighters, you'd think. But unfortunately, America's highly ranked universities no longer live up to their founding principles as bastions of free speech, open inquiry, and committed to the American values that make our country great. Take Harvard University, for example. I know it well. Our military has had a rich tradition with Harvard throughout American history. In 1775, you probably didn't know this, General George Washington took command of the Continental Army in Harvard Yard and used the university as a military base. From that time through the Korean War, military service was commonplace at Harvard. There are more recipients of our nation's Medal of Honor who went to Harvard than any other civilian institution in the United States. But today, this university with such a unique history, which receives billions of our federal tax dollars, is one of the red-hot centers of hate America activism. Too many faculty members openly loathe our military. They cast our armed forces in a negative light and squelch anyone who challenges their leftist political leanings, all while charging enormous tuition. It's not worth it. They've replaced open inquiry and honest debate with rigid orthodoxy. In our line of work, ideological automatons are useless. We need leaders who can wrestle with multiple viewpoints, professionals who can think critically and independently to solve important questions. Even more troubling is Harvard's partnership with our adversaries. Campus research programs have partnered with the Chinese Communist Party. University leadership encouraged a campus environment that celebrated Hamas, allowed attacks on Jews, and still promotes discrimination based on race in violation of Supreme Court decisions. DEI was literally founded at Harvard. Thankfully, President Trump understands this and has moved to end these abuses. He called out Harvard for being a factory of woke ideology and a breeding ground for anti-American radicals. His administration reminded Harvard leadership that it's the responsibility of the federal government to ensure that all recipients are responsible stewards of taxpayer funds. Last year, the Trump administration put Harvard on notice. Quote, Harvard has fundamentally failed to protect American students and faculty from anti-Semitic violence and harassment in addition to other alleged violations of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, end quote. Why should the War Department support an environment that's destructive to our nation and the principles that the vast majority of Americans hold dear? The answer to that question is that we should not. And we will not. For too long, this department has sent our best and brightest officers to Harvard, hoping the university would better understand and appreciate our warrior class. Instead, too many of our officers came back looking too much like Harvard, heads full of globalist and radical ideologies that do not improve our fighting ranks. So, starting now and beginning in the 2026-2027 school year, I am discontinuing all graduate-level professional military education, PME, all fellowships and certificate programs between Harvard University and the War Department for active duty service members. This policy applies to service members enrolling in future courses of study at Harvard University while on active duty. Now, any currently enrolled service members will be allowed to finish their course of study. With some exceptions, the Ivy League as a whole has pervasive institutional bias and a lack of viewpoint diversity, including the coddling of toxic ideologies that undercuts our mission right here in this building. That is why in 2 weeks' time, components of all of our departments, Army, Navy, and Air Force, will evaluate all existing graduate programs for active duty service members at all Ivy League universities and other civilian universities. The goal is to determine whether or not they actually deliver cost-effective strategic education for future senior leaders when compared to, say, public universities and our military graduate programs. At the War Department, we will strive to maximize taxpayer value in building lethality to establish deterrence. It's that simple. That no longer includes spending millions of dollars on expensive universities that actively undercut our mission and undercut our country. We train warriors, not wokesters. Harvard, good riddance.